What's up, guys? So, Alien Romulus hit theaters this weekend, and the numbers and the reviews are in. So, I was thinking we'll go ahead, we'll take a look at the numbers, kind of how it's looking at for the box office for opening weekend, then I'll give you my thoughts on the movie, and then we'll look over a couple other reviews and just kind of see what I think about how some of that's going. Like the video, comment, let me know what you're thinking. If you have any thoughts throughout the video, please let me know. Let's get right into it though. So, domestic box office for opening weekend, $41.5 million. The international box office, $66.7 million, bringing the worldwide total to $108,200,000. Honestly, I think that's pretty good, because if you look at the production budget down here, we're looking at $80 million production budget. So, if you do the 2.5 times rule on that, it brings it to about $200 million, meaning that they were able to hit the halfway mark on opening weekend. Now, we'll have to see how that holds over from week over week, but based on some of the reviews right now, it's looking like there could be some good word of mouth. We're looking at 81% from the critic reviews and 87% on the audience score. I think I tend to fall in line with that for the most part, because personally, I give the movie like a 6.5 or a 7. Now, that's not perfect, and this isn't the best Alien movie, but this was a fun watch in the theater, and I enjoyed it and don't regret spending my money on it. So, now I'll jump into my review of the movie here, and light spoiler alert, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I will be spoiling a little bit. This is a movie that the cinematography and a lot of the atmosphere that they built, the way that they tell the story, I thought that was a lot of fun. It was great. One of the big problems with this movie is that there's very little character development. There's not a lot that makes you want to care about these characters. They're basically just Gen Z fodder that you're waiting to see fed to the facehuggers or the xenomorphs. And while some of that is really cool to see, a lot of it's predictable as well. Now, this is a movie that was made for fans of the Alien franchise, but as Film Threat stated, this is kind of a cover band of Alien movies. They do a really good job of giving you the action, giving you the suspense, and building up to these things to have this big payoff. The only problem is, if you've seen an Alien movie, you see it all coming from a mile away. I personally think that the best character in this movie was Andy. The actors all do a great job, don't get me wrong, but Rain, or Rip-Offly, as she's been, I would say, endearingly called, she's your main character, girl boss, just like you had Ripley from the originals, and she does a great job. The actress does fantastic playing her. The problem is that there's not a whole lot to build her character besides finding out her parents died, big evil corporation is doing big evil corporation thing and making her stay there longer. Her dad repaired this robot for her, and she has a ragtag group of friends. Now, whenever the movie starts, we kind of get to see her and her synth brother, Andy, going to the office to submit that she has put in her time and she's ready to get off planet. Well, the corporation goes in, changes some numbers around, and goes, nope, sorry, you have another 4 years, which they've been doing to a lot of people, apparently. Now, one of the big building things that we get to see as far as character development, and it's arguably one of the biggest character development moments, is as she gets denied, Andy outside is assaulted by a bunch of, they're youths in this mining colony, right? So they end up messing him up, and that's where we get introduced to one of the key plot devices that's used in this movie, which is Andy needs to be rebooted whenever some jarring thing happens to his system. Now, they use that a couple of times throughout the movie, and it does build some suspense, and it also kind of helps to reaffirm the relationship between Andy and Rain, but that's never really called into question. We get to see that happen, and she gets a convenient phone call about, hey, we found a way to get off planet. And it involves going up to a ship that they have detected up above them. They fly up into space. It's got to do with cryo sleep and getting to the next system. But again, I don't want to get too deep into spoilers. So, we get to see the awakening of some of these facehuggers. And we get a really cool scene where they're fighting inside a kind of confined room while Andy is rebooting. It's really fun. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. It was great to see the facehuggers back in action, doing their thing, jumping around. And it's not one or two facehuggers. There's a whole bunch of them in this room. And they do a good job of fighting them off. Andy gets rebooted and, kind of saves the day. Very fun. As we go throughout the movie, there are high tense moments, like high intensity, I guess you would say, moments of building suspense, wondering what's going to happen. But if you watch the other Alien movies, like I said, you can already kind of see it coming. There's no big reveals. They try to set some of those up, but they just kind of fall flat because, again, Alien movie made for Alien fans who have seen other Alien movies, they already know what's coming. And they do kind of try this thing where they make a new alien species sort of thing, but you see that coming from a mile away. There's a whole moment where one of the characters brings something up, and you go, oh, that's important. I know kind of this is going to be involved. Then later on in the story, you get the moment that you see right where she's going to make a decision that's going to be part of the last act of the movie. And honestly, the last act is where it really falls apart. Because it's a movie that's trying to do a lot of different callbacks. And some of them work, but some of the lines are bad. The actors do a great job, and we don't blame them for those lines. But the writing, some of it just doesn't work. However, again, I would say I give the movie a 6.5 or a 7 because being there, I did have a good time watching it. I did not get a popcorn bucket. I did get one of the goblets, which I'll throw in a picture of one right here. Very cool. I had fun with it. The ending does leave it open that we may be able to see more of these characters, which I'm not opposed to, but they would need a better written story for it to really hit home with fans of Alien. So, those are my thoughts, and it, again, fun movie, but let's go ahead and look at what some of the critics and online netizens have to say about it, and I'll give you my thoughts on what they think. Alright, so Rotten Tomatoes. Let's go to the all critics. Romulus proves to be a return to form that has been absent for far too long in the franchise. Now, I could somewhat agree with this. It's better than a lot of the Alien movies, but it's nowhere near the top of the Alien movies. Now, this is coming from somebody who likes AVP. Now, that being said, I may need to rewatch it, but I do think the Alien-Predator dynamic is a lot of fun in a movie. Now, I know that one wasn't great, but it was a fun concept, so I appreciate it for that. Let's see here. Top critic Katie Walsh. Alien movies are like a pizza, and aside from a few head-scratching choices that will no doubt inspire reams of think pieces, Alien Romulus, with its thrilling tactility and appealingly pucky cast, is a very enjoyable pie. Again, tend to agree. It's a fun movie. Alright, we got a rotten here. We're left distracted by the mystery of why a thriller that initially revels in being so contained suddenly finds itself straining to reach its tendrils through the various movies that came before. Now, this is a problem with the movie. It relies too heavily, almost, on calling back to the other movies, which, if you've seen the other movies, you know that the consistency in them is wonky at best. They try to make them work, but between the different writers and stuff like that, it just doesn't really mesh super well. We have a problem with Romulus where they tie back into almost everything from before. And as they tie back into it, it gets tired. So take that for what you will. Let's see. Let's get another rotten. Alien Romulus is another flagrant example of a franchise entry that is overcluttered with ties to its past. It is too underdeveloped to have its own reason to exist. Now, I think that the story is there for this movie. The problem is, as this person said, the tying in to the past stuff is kind of... it gets tired, and by the third act, where it's such a mess of things going on, I'll just say the final reveal, it wasn't anything significant to me. It was just like, oh, okay, we're doing this. All right, thank you. And then the last scene, it can be kind of fun, but, you know, it doesn't really hold much to the previous Alien movies. So let's jump over it. Let's look at the all audience, because these are bound to be interesting. Some verified. New and with a few Easter egg. Best since Aliens. Maybe. I would say maybe. Alien and Aliens, I think both of those movies are great. I'm kind of iffy on most of the rest of them. But, you know, this one, it is a fun movie. I'm presuming JM here is meaning save your money. Horrible movie, it's bad. I disagree with that completely. I think it's a fine watch. Like I said, albeit a little messy, but a good movie to watch. Let's see. Great film. The movie makes for an incredible experience at the theater, and it's entertaining and gripping and doesn't hold back on gore. It absolutely does not. There's plenty of gory moments in this, and some of them are fun. Great CGI, that's debatable. The assistant CGI that they use on some of the practical effects, now I think they did a really good job with that, but they do a CGI of a face that I don't really want to, again, I'm trying to keep spoilers light. They do a CGI and like a de-aging on a face, and it looks pretty bad. Now, you could say some of that based on the screen that he's on sometimes, but whenever you actually see the character, it doesn't look that good. Creature design and acting. Creature design and acting were top tier. They were fantastic. The creatures, they did practical effects to make the xenomorph, and that was great. A well-made entry into the Alien franchise, worthy of swimming in the wake of the original. I would say it would be appropriate for people 12 plus, but know your kid. That's fair. That's fair. Everybody, if you're going to take your kids to see something like this, you're the one who needs to know your kid. But it isn't, there's no messaging in this one. Now, there's a couple of little things that are kind of like, okay, like you got the intimacy coordinator, like head tap instead of like kisses like we used to get to see, or there's no, it's nothing to really worry about. It's okay. Let's see. Let's grab another one here. It was amazing. I was on the edge of my seat from start to finish. Best Alien movie since Aliens, no doubt about it. We'll be seeing it again for sure. 10 out of 10. I will not be seeing it again. I saw it once. It was good. I'm okay now. So, one thing I do want to do, and I kind of want to make this a regular thing, is we're going to jump over here to Criticless. So, Criticless is a website that after Rotten Tomatoes and some of the other websites started changing their rankings, Criticless was born. And it allows users to actually go in, give reviews, talk about the movies. They've got forums where you can talk with people, and I believe you can actually follow other people reviewing movies if you care about their opinions. So I figured we'd jump over here and let's just look at a couple of these and kind of see what we can find here on Criticless. So, yeah, they've got a great listing of the crew here, the cast here. Themes, language, a little bit. Violence, a lot. Nudity, none. Political bias, none. Family friendly, no. Fair. That's a fair ranking, and this is done by users, which, again, I think is really cool. We've needed something where users are the more trusted group of people rather than these critics who says that they have the final say. All right, reviews. Let's go from most recent. Let's do most upvoted. All right, so with these most upvoted reviews, let's see. This movie is the shit. I freaking loved it. And yes, I realize I'm not a massive Alien fan, and maybe this is the perfect movie for people in that camp. But as someone who's seen all the others, this feels like an absolute love letter to the first two films. I can basically agree with that statement. It does have a lot of callbacks to those two other movies. And I think, again, this is a fun movie to watch, just like Alien and Aliens. It falls apart a little bit. I wouldn't be as enthusiastic as this, but, you know, hey, to each their own. You're allowed to like things. Always remember that. You're allowed to like things, you're allowed to hate things, and you're allowed to voice your opinion. That's what we do. All right, let's jump down a little bit. Hey, look, here it is. Our man OMB Reviews, Odin. Just getting home from the theater, I must say I had a good time with this one. As someone who is a much bigger fan of Aliens versus the OG Alien, having this throwback was honestly a breath of fresh air. From the outset, one thing this film has in spades and does well is create a unique, interesting world for the characters. Now, if you want to read the rest of Odin's review, get on Criticless, go search this up, and read the rest of it, because he does have a great review. You can see I liked it here. I actually read it earlier. He points out some great points. It's definitely worth taking a read on. So let's go down here. Criso. This movie is fantastic. It pays homage to its roots while also being more of a horror flick than the others. There are definite horror elements and definite action elements. I wouldn't say it's more horror, but it is a nice blending. The visuals were brutal, beautiful, and the story succinct, though not perfect. True. And the actors did a good job, but that's all the boring stuff. This movie was fun. It's exciting, thrilling, and suspenseful. And tell you what, let's just grab one more here. We're gonna find a random one. Boom. I rewatched Alien before I watched Romulus, and I'm happy I did. I feel like I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much without doing so. Overall, it's a great film. The set design was a huge highlight for me. 100%. Set design in this is fantastic. They took it to its roots, and they held to that. They did a great job with the set design. It looks like a direct continuation of Alien in terms of set design. You only really care for one or two characters at most during the film. Yeah, that's pretty much Rip Offley, or Rain, and her synth brother sidekick guy Andy. They're pretty much the only two that you really care about. The rest of them are just kind of there as plot pieces, MacGuffins, if you will, to keep carrying the story along. And that's really about it. Performances were good, with one major standout. True. This film adds to the overall lore of the franchise without feeling forced. And we'll stop there. So, remember, go over to Criticless, take a look at the site. It's great. I plan on getting kind of involved there with it. So, but that is my thoughts, some other people's thoughts, and the numbers. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. If you have any thoughts about the movie, put them in the comments of this video. Please, I love seeing what you guys have to say. And if you have any criticisms, anything that you think, anything like that, just please let me know. Let me know what kind of content you want to see, because this kind of stuff is fun, albeit I'm still learning how to do all of this. So please, like, subscribe, comment, follow me on Twitter at HaydenWayne75 and here on YouTube at HaydenWayne75. Thank you guys for checking out the video, and we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.